Hey there, it's Melissa here and welcome back to my channel. So today for Hip Kit Club I am doing a layout for main kit only Thursday. As part of the main kit we can also use the cardstock kit, and my assignment is to oversize an element. So what I've decided to do is, I was very inspired by this cardigan or sweater, jersey. I'll hold it up so you can see it better. It's from the ephemera pack, which comes in the main kit there. And what I want to do is make a larger, well, obviously make a large element, oversize an element. So I've decided to oversize this little cardigan or sweater. So because I want to do this without using my silhouette, and so all I did was find a free image on Google, and I've printed it out, I've trimmed it out, and my intention is to trace around it with vellum, and then I'll be able to cut out the different elements and create them by paper piecing. So what I've got here is this piece of marigold. I think all of this is marigold actually, crepe paper marigold. So it's the one with all the tags and cut aparts, but I want to use this, at the moment I'm thinking I'm going to use this for like the main part of the cardigan. And then I've also got this beautiful floral. I did think about using it for the entire cardigan, but I think it will be too much because I want to add some stitching too, but I might use it for sort of the ribbed features on there. And for my background, I really want to use this beautiful heart piece that I'll add some mixed media to. Okay, so I forgot to mention that I am working with the gorgeous September 2020 hip kits, and they predominantly feature the Maggie Holmes for crepe paper Marigold collection and the Days of Splendor collection by Pink Fresh Studio. And these collections go really well together. So here I have traced around that little sweater onto some vellum, and that will enable me to do my paper piercing. Here I thought about cutting down the middle to turn it into a cardigan, but because it had the V-neck, I didn't really want to take that apart. If it had had a circular neck like the die cut ephemera piece, then I would have, but I decided to keep it simple and just go with keeping it a sweater, not a cardi. So I fussy cut it out, flipped it over, flipped my paper over, and then I'm tracing around it so that I can get the main shape of the sweater from that black and white plaid paper. And that's the B side of the cut apart sheet from the Marigold collection. So if you get the paper add-on, you don't have to be agonising over what side of the paper to use. Often I find that collections have a beautiful B side on a cut apart, so it's definitely worth getting the paper add-on. So here I'm then fussy cutting it out, and I turn it over, and that is the base for my cute little, I shouldn't say little because I meant to be oversizing, for my sweater. So the next step is to fussy cut these little pieces to make the ribbed elements with that beautiful floral. That is also crepe paper, marigold paper. So same as what I did with the larger element, I've just flipped it over, traced around it, and then turned it back over, and then I glue it down. So my intention is to do some hand stitching where these ribbed elements are, and also where the V of the V-neck is. So with this one, I think, I don't know why it didn't quite work, but because I'm seeing that I cut the right, I fussy cut that piece out, trimmed it out, and when I go to see if it's going to fit, it doesn't look quite right. So maybe I didn't flip my piece of vellum over, but anyway, I go with the other piece that I cut before, trace it, and trim it out, and it works. So I'm not really sure why that happened, but anyway, most little issues can be fixed quite easily. So I love how these two patterns look together. I probably wouldn't use that floral in a big piece with that plaid, but it looks good in smaller pieces. So now I am moving on to the V-neck and just checking how it's going to look. And that's when I think, well, with most knitted items, the inside, which is like the B side of the knitted piece, doesn't look the same as the like the main side. So I thought I wanted to sort of blur out this V piece, and so I just used some gesso and my paintbrush, and it looks quite dark here, but it dries a bit more translucent, and I think it gives the appearance of a negative side of a sweater. So if you're a knitter, you'll know what I mean. When you knit, the B side isn't that great. So I wanted to make that look quite true to what this really is. So probably could have left this out, but same process as before, just flipping that vellum over, tracing it and trimming it out. It looks so cute. I'm so happy with how this turns out. This layout took me a long time. I put a lot of work into it, and I didn't film all of it, that's what I'm trying to say, because I would be here for probably a couple of hours, but I wanted to show you the main parts. So here I'm just using a pencil to draw the rib lines and kind of taking my, the guide of where they go off that piece that I had printed out. I didn't curve them though, I kept them straight. And here I'm wanting to make a little pocket, and because this is a main kit only layout and we can also use the cardstock kit, and also because there's enough pattern going on the sweater already, I just went for that piece of cardstock and just freehand drew a little pocket. Now I thought I was filming and I wasn't, and so what you've missed is me sticking in the floral and leaf pieces. Actually, I think you're about to miss seeing that. So I thought I was filming, but I wasn't. All I did was adhere the bottoms of them with liquid adhesive and then pop them up on some of those little pop dots for extra dimension. I think off camera at the end I go and curve up some of the edges of those leaves and sprigs as well. I've also made 2 tassels. I did that off camera because I didn't know if it was going to work. I couldn't be bothered Googling or looking up how to do that. I just decided to have a go myself, and it worked really well. So I think this is a really cute representation of that little sweater that you see that has been my inspiration. So I've also put a couple of buttons, and they're just 2 circular ephemera pieces. There's no button in a cardigan, but because this is a sweater I just thought it added a little bit more interest. And there I'm just popping up the tops of those leaves, etc. I had a bit of trouble with trimming the tassel even, so it just took a bit of patience. And like I think the tassels on the ephemera piece are sort of placed uneven, and I did that as well, so I made the right hand side one longer. So I've put a little heart on that pocket, and I've just glued that. You'll want to add extra adhesive to those beautiful crepe paper thicker pieces. And here I really wanted to use this background paper, You're One of a Kind. It's a Heidi Swap old school piece, and I wanted to use it because Ava truly is one of a kind in so many ways. And if you're a long time follower of my channel, you'll know that. I mention it quite often, I think, that she's different. But I found that paper on its own was too full on, so I've just used some gesso to mute some of those words and put a bit of a border or messy border around the sweater. So I'm wanting to pop this up as well, and I've also gone around the edge with my edge distresser, just quite gently, just to add a bit more dimension and texture to the edges of the sweater. And then I wanted to make this, I guess, provide a little bit of a border between the pocket and the sweater, so I've just used some more gesso. It's not, it's very subtle. I just think it adds a nice little touch. And then I also wanted to add a couple of, what do you call them? Mats to my photo. So I've gone with that beautiful black and white. And then when I flipped it over, I quite like the stripes that were on the other side, as you'll see in a sec. And so I'm going with some of that as well. And I like that because there's a lot of white in it and it's not full on. It's not over competing with the sweater, because obviously I want the photo to feature, but I also want that sweater to feature because it's so cute. So roughing up my edges, distressing them with my edge distressor, and it's ripped a couple of places, and I don't mind that. I quite like that look. So I probably should talk about the photo. This was taken during our lockdown. Our lockdown was in autumn, and I think this would have been March or April. The weather was beautiful, but it became cooler, and I just got this photo of Ava under a blanket having some iPad time. So here I've just added some white Liquitex splatters just to add a bit more and break up and mess up that background paper. And I dried that off with my heat tool just off camera again, and now it is time to adhere my sweater. So I've just used a combination of double-sided tape and liquid adhesive, and I think you need both if you're going to glue anything or attach anything to gesso. So just checking those tassels again, wanting them to look natural. I think at the end, I don't do it on camera as well, I will put a little glue dot behind the tassels just to hold them in place, because I'm aware that when they go into the album they're going to be, they'll hang down and not look how I want them to look. So now I am adhering my photo and the layers. I've used some more craft foam just to pop it up a bit, and for the title, what does it say? Stay cozy? Let's get cozy? Because when I look at this photo I just think she's so cozy in that beautiful blanket. So this little ephemera piece was perfect. I did want to use one of these Maggie Holmes thicker gold titles, but I didn't really know which one to use, and I didn't really want to take away from the Let's Get Cozy. So in the end I can use those on other layouts that I make, and I think this looks really cute for my title. It doesn't really take away from anything, it sort of adds to it. So that floral piece there, it gets moved about 3 times. At this point I liked it there, but as I create this cluster below the word cozy, I don't like that so much, and so you'll see me move that round. So here we go, moving it to the second position, kind of like a balance to the cluster down here, to have one at the opposite corner at the top, but it doesn't look quite right there either. So here I'm just adding an ephemera sprig of leaves and a couple of those gold, one is a leaf and one is a flower with some leaves. These are the chipboard flare and I love them so much. I've put one next to the banner piece that I have stapled, and I've also put a leaf and a gold heart as well. I think I did that off camera as well. So then I'm just adding my journaling. It's kind of subtle on this page. I don't think it needs to be a big deal. It's just about, you know, her under a blanket being cozy in the lockdown. And then off camera also I fussy cut a whole lot of these Pink Fresh Days of Splendor frames off the frame paper. Some of them are from the edge of the paper, so they're not full frame. And I just had this idea to create a border above and below, just to frame everything really. And I think it turns out really cute. I also I'd gone through the ephemera pack and just pulled out a few things I thought would work in that little cluster of trees and clouds. It's quite sweet with that autumn ephemera piece as well. And so here I'm just placing my frames. I'm not wanting to have them too high up the page, I guess, but I want them uneven, and I've also got some of the circular or oval shaped ones as well. And I'm distressing the edges of them as well, just for extra texture, I think, because I've distressed everything else. And I love that Pink Fresh often do quite a clean style. I guess their collections are quite clean, but you can distress them yourself, and I like that look. So flipped it over to do the top, and I've put this on super fast just so you don't have to see it all, or see it all slower. So just distressing, gluing, and then I come back in once. This glue is, what is it, my Nuvo glue. It's really quick drying, and I rough up the edges a bit more. And I love, isn't it satisfying to trim off the edge and have it straight? So I love seeing people do that. I love seeing them trim off the excess. I don't know if you like watching that as well, but I like the way it makes the layout come together. So yeah, there are some of these bits were a bit wet, but I'm using these Tim Holtz scissors that can cut through adhesive quite well and don't get gummed up. And so it's starting to come together, and I'm almost finished now, and I'm loving how it's looking. I'm loving all the rich tones of colour in this layout, also with the pops of white from the frames and the sweater, the white the checks on the sweater. And then I decided to add a couple of clusters because I wanted to tie in these frames, otherwise they may have looked a bit odd if they were just left. So here we go, moving that floral once again. I think this is where I leave it now. And these are from the Pebbles, the Avenue collection. It's absolutely beautiful, and there is some of that in the main kit as well. So just adding a couple of stickers. I have gone for a heart. Also the flowers, the leaf, the gold leaf I put into the pocket on the sweater is from that sticker sheet as well. Just going through the ephemera again to see if there's anything else that I can add. I'm not wanting anything too big, or I don't really want any more words on this as well. And I found this little house and I think it's really cute because it goes with the theme of staying home, and I think the colours are perfect with the crepe paper collection too. Adding another heart. You definitely do have to add some liquid adhesive. And yeah, off camera I add the date onto, I think, the frame below the house, little cluster there. And just popping up my leaf with a pop dot and adding another one. It didn't look quite right there, so I do fiddle around with it to make it look right. And yeah, that is my layout. So I hope you enjoyed watching this process. It came together in the end. It was a lot of work making this one, but I love the end result. So yeah, do make sure you subscribe and head on over to the link below to the Hip Kit Club where you can find out more about the membership benefits. Thank you so much for watching.